Hello, my loves. We are here for December 2021's energy update. I'm going to give everybody just a moment so everybody can pop on. If you're catching the replay, hashtag it replay. Let me know that you watched. Let me know. Say hello. Let me know where you're watching from for those of you who are live. Like I said, I'm just going to give it a minute so that everybody can find me and get the notification. And for those of you who are on TikTok, if you want to watch the full replay, you miss anything, you can always hop on YouTube. Know that the full replay will be on YouTube. Hello. How many of you? India. Oh, how cool. Germany. I am German. I love it. Another one from Germany. Oh my God, I love it. I'm so happy that you guys are on. My peoples. How many of you guys watched the YouTube from a couple of days ago where I talked about going from duality to multidimensionality? There was a lot of good information that will help you understand this broadcast even more. So if you haven't seen it, head over to YouTube and watch that as well. On the replay, I will link it on YouTube at least. I know, happy 12/1/21. It is a very synchronistic day. This whole month is super powerful. So I'm just spending a minute chatting with you guys before I start channeling. So once I start channeling, know that I'm not going to read the comments because it actually pulls me out. It distracts me, and I have to wait for that stream of consciousness to come back in. So while I'm talking, if you guys have questions, if you want to timestamp it, that means if I say something that is super powerful, you're like, oh my God, that was amazing. Timestamp it. Look at the clock on the live and just timestamp it in the comments. That helps me to eventually go back and make micro content. So you guys can timestamp it. And I would love for you guys to help me share this free information that I share out. It helps when you guys share or you donate. It helps me to keep showing up and providing this valuable information. You guys know that I give you so much to help you navigate the craziness that we're in. It can feel a little crazy, right? I'm so hungry. I'm drinking my smoothie. I have a very packed calendar today. All right, let's start diving in. For those of you who are new to me, who are just finding me today, I am Johanna Burkhardt. I am a multidimensional channel, teacher, and healer, and I'm here to really help you go from where you are to where you want to be so that you can go from surviving to thriving. And the past video that I talked about, the one I just did on YouTube a couple of days ago, from duality to multidimensionality, is really helping you to prepare you for how New Earth is going to be. And that's coming. Like, we talked about it for a while, right? Unless you're brand new to the spiritual awakening and ascension journey, I'm sure you've heard the word the event. I'm sure you've heard the word the shift. And of course, we are in that right now. We are in the event. It is happening. And December is really the grand finale beginning. I have mentioned in several other energy updates about 12/12 and the 12/21 portal, that period, and kind of what December is going to be. But we're really going to get into it because the energy changes by the minute, you guys. And that's why for a couple of months there, I was doing energy updates weekly, because the energy is changing so incredibly fast, depending upon your actions, depending upon your consciousness and how you vote, right? And we're not going to get into that today, but we're all voting at a subconscious level or unconscious level, right? It's with our soul. Our soul is voting. And then we have a conscious aspect of voting. I guess we're going to get into it a little bit. We have a conscious way of voting because our behaviors, what we say, what we do, is a vote for more of the same. So it's why it's so important now and always to be very mindful of what you post on social media, what you speak about, what you give your energy to, right? What we focus on expands. And that's how we create our reality. We create our reality in our responses and our reactions, because we can't always we're not always responsible for what is brought to our door. Sometimes we are, because we are calling that in. But there are things that happen that are outside of our control. And the way that we step into control is choice. Choice is our control. Choice is our control. So how we choose to respond or react is our actual control. It's the only control we actually have. And when we're letting go, the only thing we're ever letting go of is control. Everything else is about acceptance. Accepting that part of you, that state of being, that emotion, what has happened. So these are just some basics that I've talked about several times, but again, it's important that we always reiterate some of these tools and these informations, because the more we hear it, you might not be in that space, right? And you may not hear it, or it may not resonate, and then you do some work, or you shift, or your mind opens a little bit more, and now it hits different, or it resonates a little different than it did before. So this is why so many of us repeat the same stuff so often. So we're going to get into December's energy update. But again, going back to that previous video, it really is going to help you guys understand how New Earth is going to be, and how it's important, how New Earth is, what you need to understand to thrive in New Earth and the New Earth frequencies. The only part I'm going to reiterate is that the fourth dimension, or the third dimension, ended in 2012. And that is coming from the ninth dimensional Pleiadians. They said in 2012 is when we actually exited the third dimensional plane. So go back and listen to that video if you want to hear more about that. And if you are more interested in multidimensionality and how to live and thrive and manage your energy in New Earth, then you also might want to consider joining the Portal of Potential. It is a very inexpensive monthly membership where I'm going to be teaching more about multidimensionality. Since we have left the third dimension in 2012, we've been living in the fourth dimensional plane since then. And that's why so many people are feeling it, because we are actually, our awareness field, again, is expanded so much that we're now becoming aware of that fact. And we're getting closer and closer to the fifth dimensional plane. So again, go back and watch that video if that's something of interest to you. And if you're interested in managing your energy and learning how to thrive and live in New Earth frequencies, which is what we are walking into, the Portal of Potential might be something for you. All right. So what is December? December is packed full of not just astrological events, which again are markers for, just like time, astrology are markers just like time for experiences, for energy injections, if you will, divine timing, divine realignment, rebalancing, kind of keeping us on the path, kind of culminating the energies to push us forward a little bit into the direction that we're meant to go. December is the beginning of the grand finale. We have December, January, and February, where this frequency war that's been playing out is really going to come to a boiling point. And a lot of people hear the 2/22/22 date. Again, that's a date that humans give a lot of power to. Yes, there is significance in numerology, but it's actually going to happen closer to the middle of February. But we won't feel the effects of that until really the summertime, because again, manifestation, right? So the energy happens, and then the slow motion replay starts to show itself, and we start to see the physical, tangible aspects of that. But this is all going to have a shifting point in the middle of February. So again, December, January, and the first half of February have the potential to be super intense. And again, intensity is not a bad thing, you guys. It just means that it is going to be a lot of effing energy. It's going to feel super intense. We are going to feel that pressurizing. This is a karmic ending, though, in December. Karmic ending. This is the end of an eclipse cycle in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is in the South Node. And I am not an astrologer, but this is what's coming out of my mouth, so we're going to go with it. But Sagittarius is in the South Node. That is our past. That is our karmic blueprint. That is the ancestral patterning and programming that is in our dense carbon-based body. And if we understand Ascension, Ascension is a physical experience where we are allowing light to penetrate our density, to kick that up in front of our heart and allow us to accept that part of our being, which then crystallizes that density into wisdom. So it takes something that's the size of a car and compacts it into the size of a crystal into our bones. And it literally causes us to get lighter. So we're going from a dense physical being, just as the planet is going from a dense state of being to a crystalline state. So that is what Ascension is. And that is what we are doing. And this month is going to be a last time that we are going to be able to address some of these things with the potential of completely transmuting it, alchemizing it, shifting it, crystallizing it, and stepping onto our divinity. Something that came through earlier that I'm actually going to read. Fate is transformed into destiny by how you respond to your circumstances. So again, fate is transformed into density by how you respond to your circumstances. So the first part of this month, again, with this eclipse, we have a new moon and full or total solar eclipse in Sagittarius, which is, again, is the last one of an 18-month cycle on December 4th. That is Saturday, but it's happening about 2:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, and then the eclipse goes from about 10 a.m. to about 3 p.m. Again, that's Eastern Standard Time. This is bringing about fated change. And if you remember from the earlier updates in October and November, and probably even before that, I've been talking about how December, we're going to have a portal of what the guides are calling the Great Change. So 12/12 to 12/21. And if you add 2 and 1 together, it equals 3. 3 is the number of change or evolution. So this is the period of great change where we are actually going to have that energy shifting and literally turning us into another direction. Now, this happens every year, yes, right? This alignment is here every year. But this one is way more significant because of all the other energies that are happening in the fated changes. So this December, this eclipse, this portal is about a fated karmic shift. So anything that is related to not enough, scarcity, insecurity, fear of loss, fear of pain, anywhere where you don't feel safe is going to be brought to the surface. And oftentimes people say, well, I feel safe. If your nervous system is activated, if you're in the energy of defense, if you're in the energy of resistance, if you're in the energy of wanting to protect yourself, you do not feel safe. If you are not able to be in the present moment, then there's a reason for that. You don't feel safe. So anywhere that you don't feel safe to be present in this now moment is going to be brought to the surface. Because to live in New Earth, you got to feel safe inside of your being. You have to trust yourself and where you're going, and that you will be able to navigate anything that comes your way. You have to be able to live in that state of totality. Again, that's in that previous video that we really discussed that. That's really, really important. And these things are going to be triggered not because you haven't already done the work, not because this shit has not come up several times before. This is a lifelong journey. But this is an opportunity for us to see it head on and take responsibility for it and say, man, I see what is happening and I see it now, and I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to put my tools into practice, and I'm going to be consistent with myself. I'm going to have my own back. I'm going to trust and do what's in my best interest. And I'm going to step forward every day doing that. Holding my best interest at heart, having solid boundaries. And that's what boundaries are, is you having your best interest at heart first. For me, for you, for us. If you do something that is beneficial for someone else and not for yourself, then you are violating your own boundaries. You are disrespecting yourself. If you do something that's solely for you and is not in the best interest of someone else, right, then you are being in a more ego-based, materialistic space, right? So for me, what I'm doing is in my benefit, will also benefit someone else. It will benefit the whole. This is why my whole motto is be the change, right? You be the change, and you will see that mirrored back to you. Your state of being is the only thing you ever have to control, which is your frequency. Your state of being, that undercurrent that's running, that we're not always aware of when we're up in our head, or when we're trying to control or mitigate outside of our being so that we're safe. It's about knowing that if the world was burning down around you, that you would be at peace inside of yourself. And this is what we're being asked to learn and master at this time. And this is why over the next few months, it's going to get a little intense, because we are in the middle of a frequency war. We have been for a while now, not just in 2020. It didn't start in 2020. This frequency war has been going on for quite some time. And they use our food supply. They use our skies with trails. They use music and television. They use fear tactics. All of these things are used ways to manipulating your frequency. But again, we will have that tipping point in February. And by the summer of 2022, we will start to see the effects of that tipping in our favor. Because I've said all along that the light wins in this, right? We are on a trajectory. There's no way we're going to get that far off course this time. We're not going to have a repeat of Atlantis. I know a lot of you have been feeling that Atlantis energy, because we are in that same kind of, the energy's the same, circumstances are not. We're not going to repeat that. We are on our destined track. But we will have that tipping point in February. We will feel the effects of that in the summer. And by the end of 2022, it's going to be a whole different ballgame. And we're really going to start to see how things are going to start taking shape, right? Again, we have to, in order to build something new, we have to deconstruct what is currently here so that we have room for that. So that's happening personally in your personal lives, in your own energy field, and on the world stage. And we each contribute. So your actions, your responses, what you do affects the whole, whether you think so or not. Everything we do is connected, because you and I have no separation. I am you, you are me, and we are all a part of that one whole. So what you do, what you choose to do and say, is a vote for more of the same. And, there's something else that I pre-wrote down that I wanted to share. And they said, although it may appear that you could lose something as a result, if you're being presented with a choice and you feel like you may lose something as a result, you can never lose what is truly yours. So I say this because there's going to be attempts. It doesn't mean they'll be successful, but there will be attempts for further restriction, for further fear tactics. And there already is enough distractions to keep everybody running in circles on social media, talking about trials and this or that. They want you to focus your energy on anything outside of what they are doing and what is in your best interest. So keep that in mind. And I send my love to Australia and many other countries that are being pushed to their max. And I will never judge anyone for the decision they make. That is between you and yourself. Like your decision is based upon yours. I'm telling you, the best decision you can make is something that is in your best interest. If it's not something that's in your best interest and it's not something you want to do, that answer should be no, whatever it is. So ask yourself, is it in my best interest, and is it something I want to do? If that answer is not congruent, you should not disrespect and violate yourself by doing it because of a fear of a loss of freedom, fear of a loss of anything. Nobody can take your freedom. That is something that is a state of being inside of you. Things are going to get uncomfortable. We know that to be true. They already are uncomfortable. How intimate are you willing to be with yourself? Are you willing to sit in the dark with yourself? Are you willing to sit in the uncomfortable emotions because you know it's what's right for you, what's in the best interest for you, for your body, for your family, for the whole? Those are choices that only you can make. This energy, again, is going to be a battle between fear and safety. And fear is the true virus. And if we need to mitigate that, if we have to have an antidote for that, and I've said this several times, but I'm going to say it again, the antidote to fear is safety. And safety means looking at things in a space of totality, where there's no right or wrong, there's no good or bad. We are on a trajectory of fated things that need to happen and play out. Can I observe what is happening and not take it personal? Not make it about me? Because if we think we have to fight for something, all we are doing is calling in the energy of fight. Fighting for anything, even change, even something good, is calling in the energy of fight. Can you instead be the energy that you want to see? Can you step into peace? Can you find compassion? Can you look at it from a non-judgmental place? This is what we're being asked to do, and it's not easy. And I'm not going to pretend that it is. But if we can do that for ourselves, our life is going to be so much more at peace. I know for me, I've already chosen my 2022 word. I choose a word every year, and it's peace. It's being at peace with myself, no matter what's happening around the world. It doesn't matter what's happening in my life. I could be homeless on the street. I want to be at peace. The world could be burning down around me. I want to be at peace. I want to trust that whatever comes my way, I'll be able to navigate it so I can feel safe in my body in this now moment, not worrying or stressing about what's going to happen tomorrow or the outcome of any situation or the consequence of any situation. The universe doesn't know the word no. So you have to be that in which you want to receive. As we get to the middle of the month, we're going to feel this energy coming to a boiling point. So this activation of these energies of fated change and fated direction in everybody's life is going to be activated during this eclipse. In fact, it's already being activated. We are already in the eclipse energy. So just because it's activated does not mean that you are going to feel the effects right away, that you're going to see it, something dramatic, the table's going to flip, the shoe's going to drop, whatever you want to say. Come the middle of the month, this is when you're going to start seeing the effects of what was triggered on this eclipse. So during the middle of the month, around the 15th through the 18th or so, and somewhere in that window that week, that is when you guys are really going to start to notice, and you're really going to start to feel the overload and the pressurizing. It's almost going to feel like when I tap into the feeling of that time, I literally feel like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place because I put myself there. Because I felt the need to control and mitigate pain or loss. I felt the need to focus on all the things that I didn't want to and all that resistance. I feel this need to do all these things because there's going to be positive attributes to this. We are going to be more in tune with our intuition and spirit than we ever have before. I've talked about this in past updates. There really is not much of a veil left at all. The veil is just a collective belief system. And that has been shredded wide open and is not going to go back to the way it was. Our collective base frequency has risen so high that we're processing more information per hour than we ever have, period. And that is not going down. And that is not a side effect of the Schumann resonance. It is not because of solar flares and all of that. It's just the planet's frequency raising because she is ascending. We are just helping her, honestly. All of these things have destroyed what was once a veil of protection to keep us in a limited state of consciousness, and that is no longer a thing. So we are going to continue to get more in tune with spirit, more in tune with our higher self, more in tune with our intuition, whether we quiet our egoic mind and all the aspects inside of us to listen to it or not is each person's choice. Because of that, we are going to have more inspiration, more desire to create change, to step outside of our comfort zone, to just step outside of our box, to want to live and work and share what lights us up. This is why this is part of the great change, because the great change happens when each person decides, you know what? We can't go on anymore like this. I can't behave or think this way anymore. I can't do these things. I have to be the change. I have to be different. It's me. I can't wait for the world to settle down. I can't wait for the world to open up. I can't wait for everyone else to change so that I can do what I want. I have to take responsibility, and I have to do this. I have to say, I am committed to making my life one of thriving and not survival, not defense. So as we each feel that energy, we're also going to feel there's so much Mars energy still. Mars is a masculine pusher. It pushes us to go towards our destiny. Move towards your destiny. And that pressurizing can be a lot on our physical bodies and in our reality. It can make us feel pressured or anxious, overwhelmed to make a decision. So what they're asking you to do is to slow down, to readjust your perspectives, to take a breath, practice the pause, as I like to say. Wait until you're in a neutral state of being before reacting or responding or deciding on anything. It's recognizing that you are being pressured, that this is all the wounds, all of your fears, all of these possibilities are coming up because there's so much light coming in on the planet, and it's just pounding your dense carbon programming like a waterfall, just kicking up all that dirt. And it's bringing it up right in front of your heart. And it's saying, will you let me in? Will you love this part of me? The part of me that's failed, the part of me that feels defeated, that feels exhausted, that feels like it's never going to get better. The part of me that feels like they're not enough, the part of me that feels like they're unworthy, the part of me that feels like they're a victim. Will you love yourself anyway? Will you sit with that aspect of yourself and not judge yourself, not shame yourself, not beat yourself up? My friend Tanya sent me this video from Kyle Cease, and there was just one thing in it that I had to hear. He wasn't telling me anything I didn't already know, but there was something he said in the way that he said it that I have to share, and it was, every time we poop, we don't ask ourselves, God, I gotta poop again. Nobody says that. But when we're crying, when we feel unworthy, when we feel like, God, this shit's coming up again, we are shaming ourselves. We are judging ourselves. But you don't do that with anything else. I got to eat again. I got to drink again. I got to pee again. I got to get up again. These are just things we do. This is a lifelong journey. This is why when you work with me privately or in any of my courses, I teach you one set of core tools that works with literally everything. It's changed my life. It's called the Purification process. Those my students know it very well. You need a solid set of tools and a shitload of courage. Because even me gets tested. It wears on us. It wears on us. But when we take a breath, when we accept that this is a lifelong journey and that we are going to be tested, I don't even like that word, but the same circumstances are going to keep coming up over and over again, and each time we're going to get better and better and better at the way that we respond. Maybe the next time we won't take it personal. Maybe the next time we won't give our power away. Maybe the next time we paused and took a moment to check in with ourselves and said, you know what, I need some space before I react to this. There's always wisdom, even when you mess up or repeat a cycle. You needed to see something one more time a certain way. as we get towards the end of the month, and well, in the middle of the month, by the way, there is a full moon in Gemini. I mean, Gemini is duality, right? Gemini is the black and white of duality. But we're getting away from duality. That was the whole point of that video. We're moving away from black and white. It has its purpose, but when you step into totality, that is the true form of unity, because you realize that everything is happening purposefully, that there is no right or wrong, that we are literally here to explore frequency, to understand what that frequency feels like tangibly. And the only place we can really do that in this potent of a way is the earth experience. That's why so many of us keep signing up to do it again and again and again and again. We get here and we're like, WTF, why am I here? Why did I sign up for this? Well, who agreed to this crap? And then we get back up there, or we get on the other side of it and we're like, oh, God, I learned so much. Let's do it again. This is really the only place that we can feel tangibly the way that we do. And that has a benefit. It helps us to learn and to crystallize. There's been plenty of times where me personally has sat with myself and I've looked at my charts, my astrology, my human design, my gene keys. I've looked at what I've gone through in my life and how I've gone through more trauma than most people do in their whole entire life before the age of frickin' 25. And I look and I go, who the hell would sign up for this? That's what I used to say. Do you know what I say now? I really must have believed in myself. I really must have believed in myself to set myself up this way. Because I know better. I know that we have a path of obstacles that we have put in our place on purpose. And I know that we are born into the opposite circumstances to that in which we desire to experience, because that's the only way we would actually go towards our desire, is if we were born in the opposite of it. December is also going to start. This has already started, but you're really going to see the effects of this. I really feel over the whole 2022, but we're going to see a period. And really, if you look back at 21, it's already very evident. But we're going to go through a period of a lot of loss. And we've been grieving for a few years now. But that grief is only going to become more apparent. And grief is honestly the thing that wakes the most people up. Because the gaping hole that we feel in our heart is what gets our attention. It's what breaks it wide open. And grief is a very human, physical thing. And that needs to happen because that's what opens us up to be willing to accept those versions of ourselves. And I talked about the physical loss of life in the last video. So again, I would suggest, I don't want to use too much of this time for that. So if you are interested in knowing the purpose and why we die and how we die and those types of things, the outline of it, then I would watch that video as well. So the middle of the month is going to be what's going to feel like probably the most intense, but I say that and I know that there's going to be more because astrologically we have the final pass of the Saturn-Uranus conjunction, which is the father and the rebellious son, the one who wants to throw the hammer down and lock us all up, and the other part of us that's running for our lives, hiding like a fugitive. And that tells me that when that energy happens, that again, it's coming into the energy of deceit and trickery and manipulation, people who are wanting to control our frequency. So don't be surprised if you see more lockdowns, if you see more fear mongering, if you see things that shouldn't be going, shouldn't be happening because of whatever. They're going to try really hard. And with that, there is going to be bigger and bigger distractions. So when you see stories that really pull on your heartstrings on the news or social media, really be mindful if that's something that you want to give a whole lot of attention to, because they want you to fight about anything or for anything. Because again, the energy of fight drains you. And if you're fighting for something that isn't about the true thing that's happening, then you don't have enough energy to stand up and fight for yourself, to stand in your sovereignty. If you're fighting with other people online over trials or over other things that are happening in the media, if you're giving a lot of your power to those things and arguing and fighting with other people, or with just, they should do this and they should do that, you are giving valuable, precious energy to something that you have no control over. There is nothing you can do. So you're going to be asked to learn to manage, once again, your energy, your frequency, for you to choose what's in your best interest to give your energy to. They want you to drain yourself, because then you will have no energy left to stand up for yourself, to stand in your power and say, you know what, this is going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be inconvenient. It might even cause me some pain, but I know what's in my best interest, and I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to compromise, because when I do that, when I compromise, when it's not in my best interest, I am violating my own boundaries and I'm disrespecting myself. And that is telling other people that it's okay to do the same, because we teach people how to treat us by how we treat ourselves. So as we come into the end of the month, we will feel that pressuring point again, that combustion. But I'll tell you, at the very end of December, going almost to the very end, like I'm talking 28th to the 31st era, that's when we're really going to start to feel a little bit of hope and a little bit of release and a little bit of, I made it through some crazy ass stuff. I'm so proud of myself. I held my ground. I was consistent. I held my best interest at heart. I showed up for myself. I had my own back. I wasn't complaining. I wasn't projecting. I wasn't, judging. I was saying, what do I need to be at peace? What do I need right now to be at peace? How can I manage my energy so that I'm okay? Because if I'm okay, then those around me will feel that, and they will feel safe, and they will begin to feel okay, and it creates this huge ripple effect. But if you're in a state of anxiety and worry and pressure, and I got to do all of this, and I don't have enough time, and what if this happens, and what if this happens, and I need to do this, and I have to make this decision, that is in the future. That is you feeling, remember, anxiety is just an overabundance of energy that you are taking personally, and it's pointing right at you. So when those things happen, because we're going to slip, we're not perfect, we're freaking human. And when you find yourself in those states of being, take a breath, come back to your body, get out of your head, come back to your body. Get in your body. Love yourself through it. Whew. Even though we have been out of the third dimensional plane since 2012, when that came through, as I mentioned in the other video, that was new to me. I knew we were out of the third dimensional plane. I knew we were in the fourth dimensional plane for a while, but I had no idea that it had happened in 2012. And so I had a lot of questions. Naturally, I don't take anything for face value. I don't care how intuitive or psychic I claim to be or think I am at times. I still question everything I get, because I'm like, that's interesting, right? Because there's a lot of people who are out there saying that we're just now leaving the third dimension, right? Or that we've we're entering into the 5th plane of existence. So there's so many different perspectives out there, right? And they're all, that's the way that they see things. That's their truth. And that's totally fine. I don't really care about that. But it made me ask questions. And that's when they said, with these veils being ripped open, with the amount of pressurizing that has been forcing people to face their fears, it has expanded the consciousness so much that people are beginning to see that in which that was already there, something that had already happened. And now that we are getting closer to the 5th dimensional plane, because the 4th is a transit, they show it as like one of those walking sidewalks in the airport. That's how they show me the 4th dimension. It's the ability to move from a 3rd dimensional consciousness into a 5th. And we go through that back and forth inner conflict, right? But we're really starting to feel that separation because the 3rd dimension was a hierarchical physical construct, and the 4th dimension is more malleable. It's just enough, a little bit more malleable, where things speed up. They're not as dense. It's not till the 5th plane of existence that we really start to feel that we can manipulate the energy more easily. We don't actually lose physicality until 7th dimension. Just some interesting facts that are coming through. So we are starting to see the manifest, right? Manifestation is the physical form of something that was energy. So it's coming into form, and we're starting to see the form that was the 3D breaking down. And that's why we feel it so intently. We're feeling that separation. And I don't know about you, but I have personally seen so many people awakening. And those of us who were born in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, this awakening is way harder on our bodies because we are more dense in nature. 90s babies, 2000s babies, they're more crystalline in nature. Anyone born after 2012 is extremely more crystalline. Anyone born after 2020 hardly holds any density. And that's why we are now coming into a generation of all HSPs, highly sensitive people, who are affected by anything that is processed or chemically based, causing seizures and all kinds of mental disorders. So this is our opportunity now that we're seeing and feeling the physical ramifications as it comes to a head and a completion, right? Grand finale. It's the end. We're seeing the destruction crumble. With that, they're saying right now that there's going to be, and sorry, got stuff coming in. I've been talking about this for months, that truth is going to be revealed. Truth is going to be revealed. But I feel like in December, especially towards the middle to the end of December, we're really going to come through a period where it's going to be ridiculous amount of truth being unveiled. And that's not always in the form of disclosure, they're saying. They're saying that that is going to be in people, places, and things that are not in alignment or integrity are going to crumble. And that's already been happening. So companies will close. People will step down from CEO positions or high positions, political positions. You're going to see people walking away. You're going to see companies closing and crumbling. And it's because those things that happen are going to be because they were not in truth and integrity in what they were doing. And that can't be held anymore. What is that keeps popping up? I'm going to wear my glasses so I can see what's coming up. So they keep saying that there's going to be even more truth revealed. And that's going to happen in our personal lives too. So anywhere, I feel like they're saying to me justice. There's going to be a lot of justice or reconciliation and rebalancing. And so that's going to take place, like, again, they're saying the middle to the end of December. And so if there's been things happening in your life or people in your life who have been of what we would consider what a lot of us would call the dark, which is really not dark. It's just people who are wanting to take your power instead of standing and doing the work to stand in their own power. So they're doing it for the wrong reasons. They're doing it for selfish greed reasons, materialistic reasons, for their own benefit. So anybody that's been doing that for sport or for doing it because they, and causing havoc on your life, in your life, that's going to come to a head as well. That's going to come to a head as well. They're going to get exposed, or you might not even see it. And I kind of laugh because what they're saying is that not everybody's going to be happy about this, because some people are really wanting to see someone get called out or shamed or humiliated because that's how they felt. I almost feel like this is particular for somebody particular, but I think it's a group of people, but they're kind of going like, not everybody's going to be happy about the way that this truth is revealed, because they're going to want it to be like out in the public where everybody sees them get shamed, when sometimes it's just going to be that person quietly walking away, and now you have peace. And so it might not be this big expose, and there's a lot that's been happening behind the scenes, and so many people in the collective are like, I want to see it. They really want it to be almost like a witch trial. They want to see it happen. They want to see these people be humiliated. They want their family to see that they weren't crazy. They want their family to see, I told you so. But you guys, that is not good energy. That is not aligned energy. You know what is true. And when you let anybody else influence you and you feel the need to defend or fight or expose, you're not honoring your sovereignty. You're feeling in fear. You're not feeling safe. You're being threatened because part of you doesn't believe in your truth. Anytime we let anybody else's truth replace our own, that is a state of disempowerment. When we trust ourselves, when we trust ourselves and we align what's in our truth, which is something I am still working through, hence the tell. When we do that, nobody else's truth, no one else's belief, no one else's opinion will trigger our nervous system. But this is a journey. It's a practice. So keep going back and asking yourself, is this my truth? Yes. Is this what I believe? Is this what I align to at this moment? 2 months from now, that may change because you're evolving. But understanding that, you won't take it personal. You'll be like, oh, that's where they are. That's where they are. That's their truth. It's not mine. And it's okay. We can be in 2 different places. Acceptance is not agreement. Acceptance is not agreement. Okay. Let me take a second here. All right. So I wrote some things down so I wouldn't forget. Total solar eclipse is December 4th. It is a Saturday at 2:42 a.m. The eclipse, that is the new moon. The eclipse is from 10:59 to 3:02 p.m. This is all Eastern Standard Time. 12:18 is the full moon in Gemini. Oh, that makes sense because I said 12:15 to 12:18. So the full moon is really going to be the combustion point of that pressure of all that energy that you were feeling. And then 12:12 to 12:21 is the great change activation. And that activation is going to play out again over in December, in January, and of course in February. So we're going to see a lot shifting. Okay, there's going to be a lot shifting. So let's see if we have any questions. Meredith says, I'm missing this handling business. I don't know what that means, honey. There's so much energy that came through when I was talking. Holy crap. South Africa. Hello, my love. Hello, Natasha. Hey, Sonia. Barbara. Tammy says, absolutely. I really believed in myself. Exactly. Keep telling yourself that. I'm telling you, it really helps me. It really helps me. My son was born in 2021, and this is so true. Yep, super sensitive. Super sensitive. If you guys have any other questions, go ahead and pop them in. Spain. Yay. Oh. So something that I want to remind you guys of. We talk a lot about what could go wrong, the potentials of what you may feel. There's going to be positive aspects to this, right? These things, when we open up our mind, when we hold space for ourselves, when we accept ourselves, when we hold that boundary, when we do what we need to do for our best interest, these are all things that are super beneficial to ourselves, for ourselves. Every time you do something that's in your best interest and you do something to hold that sovereignty and don't do something that you don't want to do, every time you choose you, those aspects of you begin to trust you, and that quiets the internal voices of your inner children and your ego. It quiets those voices. It allows you to be more present. Every time you sit with yourself, every time you feel these emotions and surrender into them, you're opening your heart. Every time you open your heart, you're going to have more supernatural experiences, for a lack of a better way of saying it, where you're going to have more connection to the divine, more connection to the team that you've always been there. Your guides have been there since before you were born. They've always been there. They're never going anywhere. You're going to start to have that feeling, that trusting, that intuition, that knowing. You're going to start believing in yourself. You're going to start trusting yourself more. We have more. It's easier right now than it ever has been to connect to our sovereignty and our divinity than any other time. Any other time. That is a miracle. That is amazing. Every time that you can have gratitude for the earth, I know for me, I go through periods of time where I don't have gratitude for things that I judge myself on should have gratitude for it. And so my way of processing that is to go look at something that I can't create. I watch a sunset. I watch a sunrise. I go look at something beautiful outside. I go sit in nature and smell, taste, touch, immerse myself in something that I cannot duplicate even if I tried. And I have gratitude for beauty in that moment. Because the truth is, if we wait for this world to be a better place, or to be unified, or to be free, or whatever it is that you are seeking, to be happy, to be content, to be at peace, it's never going to happen. The same reason, like if you want $1 million, or you want to make $100,000 a year, or $1 million a year, if you're not happy when you're broke, and you're not at peace with yourself when you're broke, that's not going to change because you have money. It will give you more access to things, but you will find a way to sabotage it. And I actually know this from personal experience. So find peace now. Find ways to feel content with your life now. Doesn't matter what it is. I don't care how small it is. And gratitude to me is not a word I like. I've said this a couple of times, but I always come back to it because gratitude to me means I should feel one way because it could be another way. And that's true, right? If we look at it from a dualistic point of view, black and white. But when we look at it from a space of totality, which is multidimensionality, then we can appreciate things. Appreciate things. You know, something that came through this morning was we can't live as humans without something dying. And that blew my mind. Just think about that for a second. We can't live as human beings without something dying. Something has to die for us to live. Whether it's a plant or an animal, something has to die for us to live. What if you just started appreciating your meal? What if you just started appreciating the small things? It really makes you shift the way that you see things, right? And that's what you're going to be asked to do this month. There's a great quote by who I can't remember. I think it might be Dr. Wayne Dyer, but it was when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. This experience in this form has been super challenging. Well, all things worthwhile are, is what I just heard. All things worthwhile are. My business was sabotaged. We're in total financial stop. Well, was it sabotaged or did it need to die? Did you react? I feel like there's a lot more there for you to uncover in that. Nobody can take something away from you that's truly yours. Right now in Germany, if we want to use the public transportation, we need to be with the in the arm or be tested. So my question is, start mandatory things, or what should we do? Hide, do nothing. Many people are asking this from the energetic point of view. It's a challenge, Dante, right? That is the ultimate challenge. I actually have former clients in Australia who I communicate with that have similar things that are going on. And what I can tell you is from what the guides are saying, this isn't going to last a very long time. So if you can find a way to honor your choice, if you're choosing not to do that, if you're choosing not to put that into your body, the guides say that there's nothing good in that. It is not, it is for population control. Some people have chosen to do it because they felt they had no other way. And all I say when those people come to me and say, I feel like I have no other way, I say, before you do that, before you put that in your body, you need to come into a space of neutrality about why you're doing it. If you're doing it from a space of fear, that's not the right reason. Then they've won. You've handed your power over. So my question back to you is are you willing to ride this out? Are you willing to find another way? Because there will be another way. It may not be very apparent to you. And oftentimes you have to let go of the other thing in order for the new thing to show up and stand before you. But oftentimes we're holding on to things that we're being asked to let go of. And that includes the old structures. And so they know what they're doing. They know that in this frequency war, that if they can take away all the things that bring you comfort and help you live a life, then you will buckle and give your power to them. So it's a matter of how willing are you to not compromise? How willing are you to choose something that would need you to go on public transportation? And I'm not you, so I can't tell you what the right thing or the wrong thing is. Energetically, some things you can do, and this is my best example. If you're in fear of getting caught, then the universe doesn't know the word no. So all it hears is getting caught, right? I can walk through an airport without a mask on. Nobody says anything to me. Someone 2 people over not wearing a mask will get in trouble. What's the difference? My aura penetrates out and says, I don't give a fuck. I'm not doing anything wrong. Excuse my language. I don't believe I'm doing anything wrong. I'm standing in my sovereignty. I believe that I'm free. And I honestly, I don't even think about it. But if I walk into that airport and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to wear this. I'm going to put it down here because I know it's a vote for more of the same if I do it. And I don't want anybody to see me and I don't want to get caught. Resistance is a magnet just as much as desire is. So it's going to draw that attention to you. You are a walking magnet. So if you want an energetic point of view, step into your power. Step into your power that you will be the anomaly. You won't be seen. Nobody will notice you. They'll go right by you. They won't check you, whatever it is. And that's not something that you can just turn on. You're going to have to really work at that. But again, when you walk out the door, what is your state of being? Are you in one of fear of getting caught? Or are you in one of, I am a free, sovereign human being. I'm not doing anything wrong. I am in my right. I am aligned. I am free. It's about checking and altering your state of being, your frequency, right? 369. Your frequency is the only thing that you can control in this life. Your frequency is going to cause an emotion, right? Energy in motion. You're going to start vibrating, and that vibration is going to cause an action, a 9, and then it's going to repeat. So really focus in on your state of being when you're doing anything. What type of energy are you in? But my heart goes out to you and anyone else. I know there's people in LA, in California, who are facing the same thing. And again, I have seen a lot of people say, I'm just going to do it because then I'm free. When you're not free, that doesn't mean you're free. You gave your power away. That's not freedom. To be inherently free, you don't have to give your power to anyone. You get to stand in your power. That's the difference. I hope that helps. And again, I send any of you love who are really having that situation. But if we look back at 2021, we can see the effects of that because there's been more death this year than there was the previous year when there wasn't a in the arm. So we can see the effects of that very clearly. It is 333. So with that, if we don't have any other questions, I'm going to remind you once again to go back and watch that video on duality to multidimensionality. It really helps people to understand what's actually happening to the earth and what's happening to us physically. And it helps to understand a little bit of the loss that we're experiencing. And it doesn't change the grief aspect of it. That, again, grief is very human. And grief happens for us. It really opens us up and awakens us. But go back and watch that. And if you are someone who is struggling with trust and boundaries and being able to step out of duality and into totality and live multidimensionally, if you're someone who wants to thrive in New Earth and would like that assistance, then please check out the Portal of Potential and see if it'll be something for you. The calendar of events for this month is going out in a day or two, and you guys will know all the good, yummy things that'll be available. I will, as guided, things that are major shifts that I need to address, will share with you guys, but a lot of the additional updates will come through the Portal of Potential. So we're back to doing one monthly update. And so if anything huge happens that I feel like I really guided to share, then I will obviously share it because, the energy changes by the damn minute, it seems like. We're speeding up at such a rate of speed. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing. But a lot of those doomsday timelines are gone. So don't get wrapped up in the hype. Don't get sucked into the fear. Really pull yourself back. Observe what's happening like you're watching it on a TV show. Don't get in it, because when you're in it, you're confused, you're blinded, you can't see anything. But when you step back and you observe what's happening from a space of not taking it personal, just really looking at the whole picture, you give yourself enough pause where you can adjust your lens of perception. And that is going to be a huge saving grace. So manage your energy, trust yourself, have really good boundaries this month. Hold space for yourself because a lot of heavy ick might come up. Slow down. Don't let Mars burn you out by feeling the pressure of needing to do 85 things. And watch everything unfold. Just watch it unfold. Oh, thank you for the donation. Let it unfold. You don't need to dig. You don't need to dig. You don't need to dig anything up. Whatever steps in front of you is what you are ready for. If it's not in front of you, it's not for you. Okay? And if it's not something you want to do, it's not for you either. Don't do something you don't want to do out of fear of abandonment, rejection, people pleasing, all the things, right? practice saying, is this in my damn best interest? And is it something I want to do? Those answers to those two questions will help you. Because there's plenty of days where I don't want to get up and do my breathwork routine. But then I say, is it in my best interest? Well, hell yeah, it is. So I make myself do it, right? I have my own back. And that's how you do it. And I know every single person who is drawn to me, who watches me, knows you are capable of doing the same. It's going to take courage and it's going to take consistency, but you are all amazing, divine beings, and you can do this. Just remind yourself that you are not alone. And anytime you forget, come back and watch this video or any of my other videos for that matter. Just listen. Listen to my voice. Hear my words. And know that this is temporary. It's going to be so amazing when we get through, but we have to find the joy and the appreciation even when the world is ugly and hurtful. All right. So I love you guys. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for the donations. And I'm sending you all a ridiculous amount of love and patience because we all need it. We all need it. So see you next time.